Ain't no other voice like Christina Aguilera's.
Something that just needed to come out of me.
And MTV News has got her like you've never seen or heard her before.
No one tells me how to be sexy. I'll do what's right for me.
From overcoming her critics and her competition,
people judging all the time, it's a vicious business,
to rediscovering the blues and becoming a bride.
Would you guys ever do a reality show, you and Jordan?
This jazz baby has gone back to basics. All singing, all dancing.
All eyes on me.
I got trouble.
This lady's got the blues, and she's never been happier.
Feels good. It feels good to get the love.
On the verge of releasing her third and most ambitious album, Back to Basics, Christina Aguilera hopes that the beats of a swingin' bygone era will earn this three-time Grammy Award winner her own place in musical history.
What is it that makes me want to dance? What is it that makes me want to sing? For me, that was, old blues and jazz and the soul singers that I wanted to emulate at a very young age. So I just wanted to make that kind of a record.
But in order to sing the blues, you've got to live it. And Christina, though only 25, has already experienced her share of personal heartache.
I've really been through a lot. I've been through a lot of pain, and I've been through a lot of, not so pleasant experiences.
And on Back to Basics, Christina confronts some of those not-so-pleasant experiences more explicitly than ever before, in a musical tribute to the most important woman in her life. Oh Mother is an arresting track that finds the singer lyrically recounting and ultimately rising above a violent childhood, unspooling graphic details of the physical abuse Christina has long claimed she and her mother suffered at the hands of her father.
It was the moment she took on his name. He took his anger out on the face.
I know it means a lot to you to speak to people who may have gone through something similar to what you have.
Absolutely. One of the issues that I do talk about and that does come up in on my records is the issue of domestic violence, and what I went through at a very, very young age. I think it's so important, being that is a topic that is very hush-hush in society. People don't really want to talk about it, get involved, oh, that's personal family business, but really we're all forgetting that someone's lives and children's lives, real lives at stake.
It was the day that he turned on the kids, that she knew she just had to leave him.
And I think by speaking about things that have gone on in my past that might not be so positive and people might not ever want to talk about or put on the forefront, I feel like I'm mending my past in a way, I'm making it have a purpose.
The thread that seems to come up time and time again on the record is this notion of, I've found a place of happiness. Ain't no other man. I've found the right man. We're on our way to better days. There's a song called Understand where you say, I've been hurt so many times before I thought happiness only happened to others.
Yeah.
Is that true? Did you really think happiness only happened to others?
There's times where I was like, okay, I give up on this whole thing, because I never really had a strong presence of any kind of a father figure ever in my entire life. And so, guys and men weren't the best.
Marriage wasn't really in the cards?
Well, I wasn't given very good examples, I feel, up until that point. Craziness. I never had that protector of a male ever in my life. And I had all these trust issues with people, too, being in this business such a young age. There's really some gross, shiesty people out there, God, hitting on you, you're a minor. It's like, what is this? Guys 20 years your senior who are supposed to be your caretakers and looking out for you. So it really makes you grow up real fast.
But despite having issues with the men in her past, much of Back to Basics is focused on the special man currently in her life. One who, by all indications, has helped put Christina in a much happier place. On November 19th, 2005, Aguilera finally discovered what this girl wants when she married 28-year-old music executive Jordan Bratman.
Jordan, my husband, he walked into my life about 4.5 years ago. We've been together for 4.5, going on 5 years. I mean, he was seriously a breath of fresh air. You know, he wasn't intimidated by my success, and yet he didn't want anything to do with it either. He didn't want anything to do with the limelight or whatnot. That wasn't his thing. But he had his own goals and his own dreams, you know, which I'm very attracted to, ambition and confidence. And he had all that. And I just, you know, I really gravitated toward, I gravitate towards realness and very real, down-to-earth people. And, you know, you can't get more real than my husband, in my opinion.
So definitely, as far as I'm concerned, a standout track on the album is called Save Me From Myself.
Yeah.
And this is a song that actually you dedicated to Jordan, to your husband?
It was inspired by
Jordan.
yeah.
When I'm about to fall, somehow you're always waiting when you're hoping arms to catch me.
A lyric in it says that, you know, it's not so easy loving me and you're going to save me from myself. What did Jordan save you from?
Everyone kind of has that dark place they like to go, or that heavy spot where it almost feels comforting to kind of, you know, go and almost get lost in your own dark space. It's gotten really hard with a lot of my past experiences, you know, with abuse that I've gone through at a young age and whatnot. And Jordan, I mean, he always, you know, everyone has that space, and he's that person for me that kind of reaches in there and pulls me out of my own dark hole in a way. And I just love him so much for that.
There's a song on the album called The Right Man, and there's a lyric in it about not having a father to give this bride away.
Right.
Your dad wasn't there to give you away when you got married last year. How hard was that?
You know, I'd never felt that I'd ever needed or wanted that father figure or that support system. It was like I was good with my mom, you know, we survived this or that. So when it hit me on that day, thinking I was all in control, you know, I'm about to walk down the aisle, and I'm like, you know, this is a staple in my life. Like, this is huger than huge. You know, it's my wedding day, you know, and I you know, not that I hadn't realized it before, but how good it would have felt to have that support right next to you, feeling that man in your life that, I'm getting teary, that it was always there for me, you know what I mean? And I never had that. But I'm looking ahead at this man that I'm about to marry, and, you know, no, I don't have any children with him yet, but I know that by taking this step into my future and marrying this man in front of me that I love so much, I'm making a step in the direction of kind of breaking that cycle of possibly, you know, my future daughter never having that man that I would have so wanted on my wedding day. You know, I'm mending my past with my father by marrying this amazing man and looking forward to a brighter future.
So what would be your reality if Jordan Bratman hadn't walked into your life 4.5 years ago? I mean, where do you think you'd...
It'd be a very different record.
Yeah.
No one tells me how to be sexy. I'll do what's right for me in my own way.
Did you guys ever do a reality show, you and Jordan?
Something that just needed to come out of me. Back in the day, I used to almost think, oh God, why do I have to be so loud?
From practically the time she could talk, Christina Aguilera had a passion for performance. Singing at block parties and local talent shows from the age of 6 helped prepare her for the national spotlight, which found her at age 10 in the form of Star Search,
Christina Aguilera.
the 80s version of American Idol.
Champion once again, Christopher Eason.
She may have come up short there, but her big break was still to come. By 13 years old, she'd become a regular cast member on Disney's Mickey Mouse Club, joining a crew that included some pretty promising young talent, like Britney Spears and Justin Timberlake.
When I did the Mickey Mouse Club, I really felt comforted by the people that I was around. You know, oh my God, finally kids that enjoy doing the same exact thing I like to do. You know, it was a nice family.
Did you know that you were top of your class?
I was always complimented on my chops.
Christina's chops included an impressive 4-octave range, a rare gift that helped her secure a record deal. But those vocal abilities were somewhat beside the point with the release of her debut album, which came out at the height of the teen pop explosion in 1999. Maybe inevitably, Aguilera was initially marketed as yet another stick of blonde bubble gum.
I'm a genie in a bottle. You gotta love me the right way.
Did that quickly become frustrating for you to sort of be put out there as one of several?
It was, I was so green and so fresh and so new to the scene, and I've always known since I was yay high I've wanted a record deal. I wanted to be a singer, you know, that I was willing to kind of open myself up to kind of playing by the label's rules and how they wanted me to kind of look, act, and dress. I was very much told not to upset any endorsement deals that might happen, and for me it was stifling.
And just as any other stifled 21-year-old would, Christina rebelled, big time. There was no putting this genie back in her bottle, and with 2002's Stripped, it was Xtina in full-on topless, button-pushing, dreads and leather chaps-wearing mode.
Sweating till my clothes come off.
I remember when Stripped came out, we remember the reaction. It was as much controversy as it was, you know, acclaim. I mean, it was like, what's she doing in that video, and what, you know, what's she thinking? And do you think you made mistakes, personally, professionally?
I don't regret anything that I've done or anything that, you know, I feel I should be ashamed for, because I've also learned by doing, you know, the first record, I learned and was inspired to do Stripped, feeling all that confinement. So, you know, one thing inspires the next.
And a lot of those people might be saying, oh, well, now she's a good girl and she's keeping her clothes on. But lest they think that too much, is a track on the album called Still Dirty. Which essentially says, don't tell me what I'm going to be. I will tell you who I'm going to be. I mean, that's essentially the point of it, right?
You got the point of the record.
And a woman's sexuality is held up to scrutiny is one of the lyrics.
Well, you know, I am someone that really, you know, thinks, you know, every woman should have the opportunity to speak her mind and express herself in whatever fashion she thinks is right for her. What I didn't like, and why I was inspired to address it on this record in Still Dirty, was the fact that I was seeing these things that would pop up in the press, like, oh, she's changed because she's married, or she's changed because this guy, you know, she's in love now, so she's soft and sweet.
Or he doesn't want her.
Or he doesn't want her to be. It's like, do you not know me at all? Do you not think that I would marry someone that would keep me in a box or confined to dress or be a certain way? No one tells me how to be sexy. I'll do what's right for me in my own way.
You mentioned about Jordan just being a down-to-earth guy, and you like to just sort of live life as normally as possible. And you know, it's interesting because I think that's a little bit different a take to living life than a lot of your contemporaries have. Are you happy that,
well, this
by
business
and
has
large,
changed since the last time I was out, you know? With the tabloids kind of exploding and whatnot, it wasn't as much of a thing back, even for my last record. So it is a different world I'm stepping into, kind of on the scene of, you know, reality TV has kind of exploded since the last record.
Would you guys ever do a reality show, you and Jordan?
I wouldn't. I really, you're right. No, we've been approached actually, and it's been a, you know, a question for some people. And I just, my marriage and my relationship with my husband is something that I really want to protect.
Are you dismayed when you see other young artists getting so much of this tabloid scrutiny about how they conduct their personal lives and whether they have another kid and how they conduct their marriage?
You know, I think it's hard. My heart goes out to, you know, that whole situation. I mean, it's a whole different ballgame, I feel, when you do open yourself up to that whole thing, and it must be difficult.
Yeah, but it is a two-way street. I mean, if you, like you're saying, if you put yourself out there and if you do a reality show and you open up your home to cameras and you start, then all of a sudden people think they've got a piece of you.
Of course, you're open to all the judgment in the world. It's like, you know, at least now I can say, well, you don't know my situation, and it's very private and special and sacred to me, especially with, you know, everyone having an opinion about me already, one way or another, or some preconceived notion. And I think it's best to let my music and what I do artistically step forward and take the front seat.
Does the rest of the world, are they getting now more and more that first and foremost, it's about the singing?
You know, as time keeps on going, and this is what I've told myself from day one, you know, with some of the comparisons and whatnot, you know, I was never really, that never really affected me. I never really cared about it just because I knew that I was on a path of forever changing and forever challenging myself vocally, artistically. That's what I'm in it for, you know. I don't want to talk about any gossip here or what's going on here. It's like,
Right.
I want to talk about my art. I want to talk about what, my passion for music.
You can get even more of our intimate interview with Christina Aguilera, plus MTV News' first ever sit-down with the future phenom back when she was just 18 years old by going to MTV's broadband video channel, overdrive.mtv.com, right now. She went from pixie-ish pop prodigy to oversexed video vixen. But through her ever-morphing image, Christina Aguilera undeniably laid claim to one title, one of the greatest vocal talents of her generation. Now, 4 years removed from her stripped era, the noticeably more mature, grounded, and newly married Christina has traded in the lascivious leather of Xtina for the vintage Hollywood glamour of Baby Jane, her new screen siren alter ego. With platinum curls and red lips, she's going back to basics. The name of her new double disc CD that pays homage to the classic jazz and blues she grew up listening to. In order to capture that throwback vibe, Aguilera called on veteran hip-hop producer DJ Premier and previous collaborator Linda Perry, who co-wrote this Christina classic.
She gets you to that gut-wrenching place that's so stripped away and so vulnerable that sometimes it makes you feel, like, where's my clothes?
I got trouble, always knocking at my door.
Was there like one particular moment when you said, you know what, I want to do this kind of throwback-oriented record?
I kind of always, you know, old blues and soul and jazz music has always been my favorite kind of music. Even when I was, you know, yay high, 7 or 8 years old, I used to call it my fun songs to sing. You know, the old soul singers that you could only find like on vinyl back in the day. I just was so
Were you
drawn
like the
to
only
that.
kid on your block who listened to that kind of
I
stuff?
was weird, yeah, that was different. Blues is derived from pain, and at a, you know, very young age, you know, kind of with my childhood growing up and whatnot, I just gravitated toward it. And I knew eventually I wanted to make a very, you know, soulful record, but maybe with a modern day twist, and I kind of wanted it to incorporate the whole look and feel and vibe and sound, and that's where Back to Basics and this next, you know, chapter of my life is revolved.
Do you consider it a challenge to, seeing if your younger fans will get the sort of throwback orientation of the record?
It's interesting, I had that realization kind of when I had my TRL visit for the first time in a while, and I was like, oh, what if they don't get it? You know, like, you don't think about that.
What an amazing welcome back. Thank you.
Just when I talk about it, I think they get how inspired I am and how passionate I am about what I'm doing. And, you know, I was a teenager when I first came out on the scene, huge pop explosion, part of that whole thing. And I think, you know, music has changed since that time that I came out. You know, it has grown up a bit, and I think the fans have grown up a bit too. And I think they know by now that with each record that I kind of like to go to a new place.
Well, I think challenging as a choice for a first single is Ain't No Other Man, because as a hot record as it is, it's not a conventional single. A song structure and those
Right.
the horns.
Break it down now.
Ain't no other, ain't no other.
Yeah. But I'm also the kind of artist, I don't go to, when I go to make a record, I'm like, okay, who's hot now? Like, let me go to that producer or this hit maker of the moment. You know,
Right.
I'm so not into that. I think that part of how I feel I need to express myself is always kind of going left field or thinking in a new direction and trying to challenge myself. The people that I chose to work with, especially, you know, DJ Premier has never, ever entered the quote-unquote pop scene or
Right.
world. And I am a, you know, a hip-hop fan, and I am familiar with his music and a lot of the stuff he used to do with Biggie Smalls and Gangstar, and he did a lot of jazz elements. He chops things up. He goes for the obscure records and pieces and sounds. And we were able to keep those old elements, thrown with a modernized beat. I thought the melody kind of sounded almost as if you would take one of my old favorite soul singers and have them sing a melody of today in that kind of vein was what I wanted to accomplish, and it's fun.
Don't you feel like you've come a hell of a long way in just a few years?
Yeah, I mean, I feel from the place that I was at, to be able to, be such a hands-on artist now, I'm just, it feels amazing. I've done a lot of growing and a lot of healing since my last record, and I'm finally in a place that, I feel pretty at peace. I'm happier than I've ever been, really. A lot of good things.
I mean, obviously finding oneself is probably an ongoing project.
Absolutely, yeah, and I'm not done.
Exactly.
Don't miss Video of the Year nominee Christina Aguilera at the 2006 Video Music Awards, featuring performances by Justin, Beyonce, T.I., Panic at the Disco, and The Killers. It's all going down at New York's Radio City Music Hall Thursday night, August 31st at 8 p.m. Pre-show at 6:30.